Jack, he listed off every fast food restaurant.
Is he into
How much he enjoys it.
what? Are you into it?
Which is your favorite fast food restaurant?
Oh man, we just did a whole segment about
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A probably.
Oh,
that's a good
Chick-fil-A
choice.
for dinner, I think, 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, good choice.
Chick-fil-A,
See you around.
it's solid.
You too.
But he never had Wendy's.
Yeah, he'd
I'm
never
from
been
Columbus,
to Hawaii.
Ohio, so I've definitely had Wendy's.
Yeah.
Wendy's great.
Great, this guy.
Yeah,
You're in the wrong chair, though.
I'll take you to Wendy's. You want
Yeah.
a Frosty?
This is Drew
You can
Powell,
make-
actor.
I'll
himself.
make-
Good to see you.
How you doing?
That's
Good
how
to
I
see
make
you.
it
Yeah.
up to you. I'll buy you a Frosty.
Huh?
That's how I make it up to you. I'll buy you a Frosty.
For kicking me out of the field? That's not a very good trade.
Did the fastest I went as fast as I could.
Oh, I love it.
Just needed you to sneeze or something.
I farted.
I
You
love
must
it.
have had McDonald's the night before.
That was it. It was White Castle. He got the Crave case from White Castle. That stuff will make you go. America runs on White Castle. It's not Dunkin'. Man, oh man, that's right, Ohio boy though.
See, and White
that's-
Castle's
that's-
Ohio too.
Yeah, we had I'm from Lebanon originally, from Lebanon, Indiana. We had a meat processing plant for White Castle, which always made me very curious what actually was in that.
I was gonna say, yeah,
It was definitely a question.
yeah, for sure.
All right.
We got our first full race suit here.
I know. It's
He's
Yeah,
been working
sorry.
today.
I was working.
I love
I
it.
got 15 minutes of work in
Let's
today.
go. Let's go.
This is Chris Spangle here for the Bob and Tom Show, here with actor Drew Powell, and
Howdy.
we are joined by Graham Rahal. Graham, first race suit today. You're
Yeah.
fresh out of the car. You had a golf tournament, and then you had 15 minutes in the car to loosen up.
I did, yeah. Yeah, it was quick. Didn't get through the golf tournament either. Ran out of time.
Oh, really?
The play was too slow.
Christian Lundgaard was here, and he
and
had a
it's-
good time.
And it's my golf tournament, so it's my fault, I guess, that we weren't quick enough. But yeah, it was. It's been a little bit of a whirlwind
Yeah.
few days for me, but we're here, and it was good to get out there. You know, even for 15 minutes, just to see how different things are, because clearly, car to car, it's different.
How big
period.
is the jump from your Rahal car to the Cusick car?
Well, it's more just like the steering wheel's clearly a lot different. To get used to it, where the buttons are, the way the buttons feel. You know, in gloves, it's even just the feel of things is so critical.
Yeah.
The RLL car, the buttons are they protrude out a long way. The dry Reinbold Cusick Motorsports car, they're kind of flat with the wheel, so you've got to actually like push in, so it feels quite different. But look, those are all things we'll adjust to. We got a couple hours tomorrow to figure it out and go from there. It definitely is a blur to
yeah,
jump in and just go.
We're not going to rehash what every single other person in the media day has asked you, but I do want to ask about the difference maybe between 20 years ago versus now. You're a Honda driver driving for a Chevy car. They allowed you to do that. The teams work together. Has the
Yeah.
sport become a lot more collegial and a lot?
Well-
Maybe it's competitive, but not as intense.
No, I think it still is. I was very surprised to be here. In many ways, particularly, I think that people have seen this. I feel that, the Chevy motor has been very, very strong, right? And if you look at the cars that are up front, aside from the Ganassi team, that most have been the Chevy. And so for them to allow me to drive that, I think is a little surprising. I think for Honda, there was a big surprise that they allowed me just simply because I've spent my whole career there. But for the Chevy side, I mean, certainly they've got information that they probably don't want me to know anything about. So that's been a surprise.
Did you have to sign an NDA? Or?
Somebody said that to me.
Yeah.
So it was like, you must have signed an NDA. I said,
I got to sign an NDA to audition for a Marvel movie. I mean, you would have thought.
I haven't signed anything. Nothing at all.
Here we go.
So,
They trust you. You're a trustworthy guy.
But they also don't tell me anything.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you don't
that's
need to sign an NDA if you don't get told a
That's
single
right,
thing.
yeah.
So, but it's been a whirlwind, man. The last few days, holy smokes, it's hard to process
Yeah.
what all has actually taken shape.
Did you go home?
No.
No.
We've just been living in the motorhome, man.
Yeah.
Living in the
See
motorhome.
what happens.
Got two little girls in there, two dogs, and my wife Courtney is somehow keeping it all together.
That's
I'm not
awesome,
really
dude.
sure how.
That's awesome. I loved it.
But yeah.
I've got a 4.5-year-old. I've got a baby due next month. Things for me have changed radically since having kids. How has having children, young kids, watching your daughter walk up and hug you on the race car, I might tear up
Yeah,
thinking about
I
it
know.
now. I mean, how has that changed
That was
things for you?
That's when it got hard for me. You know, I was kind of feeling okay, not okay, but I mean, you know,
Keeping it
I was
together.
keeping it together.
Yeah.
And then I looked over and I saw, you know, my wife with the two girls, and I was like,
Uh-oh.
that's when,
Yeah.
you know, you feel so
Kryptonite.
much.
Kryptonite.
Yeah, it's just so hard.
Yeah.
But here we are. We're back in it.
Yes, sir.
We just needed a chance. We got a chance now. So let's see what happens.
How did the car feel today?
Hard to tell.
Yeah.
You know, but and it's windy. I mean, super windy today. I hope
It
it's
really
not
is.
like this on race day, just more out of principle. This is
Yeah.
a tough, no fun being out there like this. But you know, it's different. I mean, it's going to be different. It's going to handle different. It's going to feel different tomorrow. But I'm excited to get out there and get a sense of it. We'll see.
Yeah. So we've been asking everybody all day long. I live from the Hollywood world, so they make a movie, and this sounds like they might be making a movie about this. There's been a lot of great drama. Who plays you in the movie?
Oh man, you tell me.
Well, I'm available, and I think we're the same height. So I'm going to hit the gym for like the next 3 years, and then we'll be fine. No, okay. Let's think about this.
Because I don't know.
What do people say you look like an actor?
No, only person I'm ever told I look like is Luke Bryan.
I
I
see
see
that.
that.
You know who just hit me from last year, actually, and we met last year for the first time here, is Miles Teller. I could see some Miles
You
Teller
think so?
action. Yeah. I'm not saying you guys look exactly alike, but I think he could do
Man,
a good job with
that
you.
movie was sweet.
Oh, man.
Top Gun.
Wasn't it?
It was awesome.
It brought people back to the theater. Like, I was so thankful for that movie. But yeah, I could see that. And, man, what a story. This is what number for you? 500?
16.
16.
16. Oh, yeah.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, a lot.
The person that was
This has
born
been the
the year
toughest,
of your first is 16 years old right now,
Yeah.
learning to drive.
I know. And I feel like most of the drivers I compete against weren't born on my first one. My first
Yeah,
first race.
Especially
but
these days.
It's kind of strange. There's a lot of youth in the sport right now. A lot. And
RC Emerson was like, "Yeah, my first, came to my first one when Tony Kanaan started." It's like, I was a senior in high school. You were
Yeah.
about the same age. Like,
Exactly.
are you getting to a point in your career where you talk to some of these younger guys and you're like,
Oh,
You
dude,
little-
they're so out of touch. A lot of these young kids, I'm like, I was laughing today. I'm not going to name names, but like one of the drivers in his contract got something for free in exchange for money. And I was like, he had to be like 20 years old because money is gold, right?
Yeah,
You need to make a living.
Yes.
But as a kid, who cared,
Right.
Hey, I got a new toy. It's
Yeah.
like, no, not anymore. Not anymore.
Exchange for money.
But
Yeah, you've. I listened to a podcast today called Dinner with the Racers with your dad,
Yeah.
Bob or Bobby. He said you call him Bob.
I call him Bob.
Why do you call your dad Bob and not?
Don't know.
You call him Dad in
I
some of the
think Bobby
interviews. but-
sounds weird.
Yeah,
You know, maybe that's like.
but what about
maybe
Dad?
it was cool 40 years ago, but I think Bob is better suited nowadays.
Yeah, I get that.
I call him Dad all the time, but I think like if we're around. Well, I guess sometimes when he calls me, I say Bob. I guess now that I think about it. We've always called him that. My little sister calls him Bob, and everybody calls him Bob.
he
so.
said he thought it was a little bit to tweak him. Is there a little bit of that?
Probably a little. Sometimes. But at least we don't call him Robert
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something. You know we're really upset if that's what we call
Robert.
him. But
Well, the one thing I got to say is I've always admired your first of all your ability to. I mean, you got definitely a future in the booth after you can really explain this very well
Thank
to
you.
lay folk like myself. But also, just like the class act, like you've had it. You it's hard in this business, I think, when they stick a microphone in your face after you've been doing what you've been doing. To not just go crazy.
dude, that was the hardest part of Sunday. You're down, you're out. You've just been kicked in every area you can imagine, and you just don't have time. And I knew it. It hadn't even ended, and I could see the crowd swarming my car. I hadn't even gotten out yet.
Jeez.
And to to get out and try to keep yourself composed for like 10 minutes
Yep.
is not easy. But I do think that that's something that's super unique about our sport.
Yes.
Even in football, right? Like if a player, if Tom Brady goes out and throws 5 interceptions and wants to walk off the field and not do an interview, he can do that. But in our world, you can't. They are on you. The mic is in your face. You're not going to get out of there. And so that access is a great thing, but it's also tough at times.
Yeah,
it makes for great TV too, man. That 100 Days to Indy is freaking fascinating to watch.
The story that they're going to get now is.
Oh man. You turned into the A storyline. I'll tell you that.
Probably more of a story than they.
You hear that, boys?
Yeah, they're listening.
There's always been a little bit. I don't know if polarizing is the right word, but I just feel like the shift in IndyCar fans in your favor. Have you noticed anything like cruising social media?
Not really. I don't really look at it very much because here's the reality for me. Like, people just love to hate me, and I'm okay with that. Being my last name, I know that. I've lived that for 20 years. People, yes, you have those that are genuine fans and care, but people say the dumbest stuff, and they don't have a clue who I am as a person. They've never met me, and they would never say it to my face.
Never.
I can guarantee you that.
Never.
But they just love to hate. That's the world, unfortunately, I feel like that we live in today.
You're right.
It's just... everything needs to be controversial. I just don't get why.
Yep.
But that's
brother.
the reality. And so for me, I don't really look at it, that much. It's tough because unfortunately there are a lot of people who get affected by that stuff. Look, I tried to handle it as best I could. I tried to handle it like a pro, a guy who's been in the sport for a hell of a long time.
Yep.
And that's all I can do. I try to make my family proud, make our sponsors proud. And that's the extent of what I can control. If a fan wants to like it or love it, then great. If they want to hate me, then, then they say, I would just say, if they want to, then they actually don't know me as a person.
True.
But that's
Absolutely.
their choice.
Well, I will say I was standing kind of next to the gaggle as you got out of the car right there at the end of Gasoline Alley. You go through, you do all the interviews, you don't refuse any interviews, you get in your golf cart with your wife to head back to the garage after one of the worst moments in your career. You see a dad holding a little boy, and they're both wearing your jersey.
He had a 15 shirt on.
And you stop and sign autographs for him. I thought that was amazing.
Because, the thing is, like, I was there once, and I know that people think, oh, yeah, you're Bobby's son, so you were there in a different group. No, I literally, all the time, I would stand by by the fence, and I remember being here as a little kid, and I was so excited to get Stefan Johansson's autograph. Like, I remember like it was yesterday. And that affects you, I don't care who you are. But it also affects you if you don't do it. If you don't sign that autograph, the great Robin Yount, who happens to be a very close family friend of ours. Classic. But if you're a baseball fan, like, he did this thing, and it's gone viral a couple of times. But where he talked about the reason in his era that you played baseball and you played every single night and you gave it everything that you had was because there are how many people in the stands every night that's their one game a year they've saved up to go and watch you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've seen it, not to talk bad about something, but I've seen it here. I came here once when LeBron was with the Miami Heat and they were playing and he had a rest night.
Yeah.
And you know how many
load management.
You know how many LeBron jerseys were in the stands?
Yeah.
And there he is in a sport coat sipping a Pepsi on the sideline.
Yeah.
That's hard for people to accept.
Yeah.
And you certainly, for me, I want to be the guy that when you get out of the car, whether it's good or bad, you got to carry yourself with class. You've got to be good to these kids because they will remember.
One of my
Absolutely.
most prized possessions to this day is a ticket that your dad signed for me. I was the biggest Bobby Rahal fan as a kid. And he brought it home to me, and I still have it. It meant the world to me as a 6-year-old.
That's awesome.
That's the thing. You don't forget.
Yeah.
Never.
Absolutely
particularly the bad experiences.
Yeah.
Don't forget.
Well, I can tell you, I'm the newest member of the Rahal fan club. So if any of these fans have trouble, send them to Solomon.
And Drew's
we'll take
huge.
care of them.
Yeah.
We'll take care of them. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, Graham Rahal, thanks so much for joining us, and
thank you,
best of
guys.
luck Sunday.
Thank you.
Go get 'em.
Thank you.